we're just going to focus on this week, and if you do this every week, we'll achieve this in this 4 weeks.
Yeah.
Every 4 weeks you do that, we'll get to here. And then it just makes it far more achievable. It's no different from if you just set up any business and do anything like that. It's, okay, I want to be up here achieving this, doing this, but my goodness me, it seems miles away.
Yeah.
It's like climbing a mountain. But all you have to do is just start and try and get to this next bit here, which might be like a little base camp, a little ledge.
Yeah.
Achieve that, reevaluate, see where you're at. What did it take to get to that bit? Okay, we can make things a little bit better. It's just working on that next step in front of you, just looking at the next one. If you look too many ahead, it's daunting, it's unattainable, it's unachievable. You just won't get there. What is tracked and measured could be improved.
Hi and welcome to Business Rainbows and Unicorns, where there's no such thing as failure if you don't try. This podcast is specifically for business owners or wannabe business owners. Say you've got a side hustle or you've got a passion for something and you think it'd be absolutely amazing, or you see people that do amazing things with their passions and what they enjoy doing. Well, you can do that. So please subscribe and we hope you enjoy listening to this episode. Hi and welcome to Breakout Business Rainbows and Unicorns, where there's no such thing as failure if you don't try. So today we're very fortunate to have on the podcast Ben from BT Fitness and
Fortify Fitness.
Fortify Fitness.
Yeah,
I always want to say Forth Fitness. I don't know why.
Close.
But Fortify Fitness.
Fortify Fitness, yeah.
So thanks for coming on. Nice
Thanks
to
for having
meet
me.
you.
Yeah, and you.
So tell us about what
It was BT Fitness Coaching came first.
Yeah.
So, a bit of my background for that is went to university, studied sport and exercise science, loved it, huge passion for it, just explaining why the body works, what limits you can push it to, and that sort of thing really drove me. That was my passion. Left there, went to be a teacher at a secondary school. Didn't really enjoy it as much as I thought I was going to. Didn't really feel like I could make much of a difference or enough of a difference.
Was that PE teacher?
Yeah, PE teacher. Yeah. And then had an opportunity to personal train some friends. So I did my PT qualification whilst I was at uni alongside my degree. So a few friends were getting ready for weddings, things like that. So I said, okay, yeah. So I started renting a space off a gym, which ended up being the fort in the end. And I was, PTing some friends, found out that I actually quite enjoyed it because I saw their progress and how I was actually making a difference.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's what I want to do. I want to help people. I want to make a difference. I want to take them from this point to this point. And currently they can't see this point yet, but I'm going to tell them they're going to get there. Yeah. So that's sort of what I did. So giving up the opportunity to be a teacher was a bit of a risk, but I just knew that I had the opportunity to do something I really wanted to enjoy and make a real difference. Yeah. So that's what I did. I basically started a couple of hours a week, rent a space in the gym. I was down Friars Meadow that summer, out the bit of my car. I think it was 2019, just before COVID years. Yeah. And sort of went from there, really. And COVID happened. I was then not able to PT in a gym. And opportunity comes in various different forms.
It does.
And I played youth football for AFC Sudbury. And they put an advert out on social media. And they basically were looking for someone with a sports science, strength and conditioning background to come do some voluntary hours. I popped down there one day because I sort of know the coaches and stuff from previous, and did some voluntary work for them, and they just happened to need someone to actually run a third year educational program for them. Oh wow! In personal training.
What, so, for their footballers?
Or for their academy. So they've got an academy set up, which is basically like a sixth form college for talented football players, boys and girls. And they also needed someone to sort of get out a facility to teach it in. I was like, well, this is perfect, right?
Like where this is going.
So I sort of seized the opportunity with both hands, never ready for it, but took it anyway.
No, exactly. I don't think any of us are ready for anything. We're just winging it.
Yeah.
No one knows, you just see how it goes.
Exactly, go with the flow.
Yeah.
So felt a bit out of my depth, but went for it. Had a bit of a client base from what I was already doing. Loved what I did, and I thought, well, okay, it's always going to work out. Because I love what I do. Yeah. And I just want to make a difference as much as I can. And this facility will give me the opportunity to do that.
Yeah. And did it make a difference working? Because obviously at secondary school, you've got children that are massively into sport and those that are massively aren't. Whereas actually in that scenario, you've got a whole group of kids that are just, probably shouldn't say kids, hit me for it. But yeah, who are just like, they're into their sport, they get the goals and mindset. Is that...
Yeah, I completely get that, and I think at school it's the volume of kids you're trying to make a difference with in such a small amount of contact time you have with them. I just don't think I was suited to that environment. So at the academy, I have a smaller group. We do the whole academy's worth of strength and conditioning, so that's 130 students across 3 year groups. But I solely deal with educationally the older age groups, so the third years, so 18, 19-year-olds.
Yeah.
And we teach them their PT qualification. But that also gave me the base to then work one-on-one with people, the small groups that I had been working with. And the business just sort of grew from there, really. And I wake up every day still sort of 5-6 years on, absolutely buzzing to do what I do and make the difference I try and do.
I love that. So is that now, how has it evolved? Because it's now, you've got the gym at AFC Sudbury.
So the studio is at AFC Sudbury, where I sort of spend most of my days, sort of Monday to Saturday, coaching people, teaching the students in the middle of the day.
And anyone can come to that, like I could come.
Yeah, you could book in a session, sign up with me, if there was space, but I'm sure we can wiggle something around if you wanted to. And we would there, just help you work towards what you want to achieve. Yeah. Our sort of mantra is, like, anything is achievable, no matter how big or small. If you have a goal, we'll help you get there. Yeah. And I take it from a science-based background, from what I studied and still study now, and make it into bite-sized chunks and get you to where you want to be. Yeah. It doesn't have to be this big scary thing, and you haven't got to go cardio 5 times a week and go to the gym 5 times a week. There's something you'll enjoy and that's achievable to get you to where you want to be. Yeah. And that's all we try and do, just make it applicable to you and as optimal for you as possible. Yeah.
And is it that, do you take on anybody? Because now there's obviously, so I used to do triathlon, and I've always done boot camp for about 10 years now, but that was my goal, triathlon. Now that sort of had its peak. COVID kind of killed that bit, and now we've got the likes of High Rocks that I always joke, you can't say it like that, you have to go High Rocks. That's the only way you're allowed to say it. And these kind of like I don't know what you call them, but they're more strength and
powerlifting competitions, Olympic weightlifting, stuff like that, FX Games.
So do you specialise in anything, or is it?
So I love the fact that I like challenges, and I like pushing my brain to the boundaries of what it has in its locker, and having to do more research. So we coach anyone and everyone. So we have bodybuilders that earn pro cards at competitions. We have powerlifters of any age. We have football players, tennis players, rugby players. We have high rocks athletes, long distance runners, marathon runners. You name a sport, we've probably come close to covering someone or helping someone get to where they want to be. Judo athletes, loads of stuff. And I love the challenge that brings me, because I have to be on my own game, like proper on my toes, doing the research to make sure what I'm doing is the best for them and the sport they want to compete in. We don't particularly specialise, but from anyone from 8 years old gymnast that we deliver youth gymnast sessions, S&C for them, to 80 years old. And I'll come on to the different sort of groups we offer stuff to a little bit later on, but we offer a U3A, heard of the U3A? University of Third Age, over 65s, you're retired, you can subscribe to this membership. And we've actually started running a over 65 sort of like weightlifting class, powerlifting class down at the Fort. And Melanie, who is a British powerlifter for GB, runs that for us. Amazing. So we've got people in their 70s coming down there learning how to lift a barbell with proper technique and stuff. So any age, any sport, we cover it all really.
Amazing. And do you work, like you say about doing the gymnastic stuff, do you work with different clubs and groups, or? Yeah,
so some clubs have reached out to us to do different sort of S&C specific stuff with them. So a little more than just your basic fitness, a bit more specialised in terms of what we can offer, plyometrics, stuff just for their sport that they need to work on. And that's based on the knowledge we have, we can help them do that. So we're open to any sort of clubs reaching out, and we can offer those sort of services.
Yeah, and is it that, how do you, because in my brain, so my daughter's a swimmer, so there'll be very specific things that she can, because my background was swimming, so I kind of remember bits about it. I'm only 21, so I've only just given up. But how is there a specific sort of like, right, okay, you get someone in, okay, you're a marathon runner, so there's do's and don'ts, because I'm guessing that's very different to the football guys or high rocks guys? Or...
Yeah, obviously depends on age. So youth athletes, we need to cover a full base of making sure they're good movers. So do some general movement screening. And then just make sure they've got all the baseline of sort of strength, mobility, general sort of force production stuff, and just see how they move. Because some kids move better than others. And then from there we would specialise a little bit more once we've been with them a little while. We then say, okay, for your sport, you're probably not powerful enough with upper body force production. So we'll specialise and do some plyometrics suited to that to help you in your sport.
Yeah.
And we go from there, really. It's all on a needs analysis of the person themselves that need to improve on that.
And then does that include Joe Bloggs just walking in from the
of
street
course.
that wants to lose
for
their wedding or whatever it might
absolutely.
be?
We love that as well, because it's just putting a framework for them that we often get people come in who say, we don't really enjoy exercise, but I do want to lose weight.
Yeah.
Okay, let's try and make you fall in love with something. There'll be something you fall in love with and something that will fit into your life that you will actually like doing, rather than just hitting a horrendous diet hard for a couple of months, hating the exercise.
Hating your life and exercise.
And then, okay, I've got the outcome I want, but I haven't built any good habits for the rest of my life. And, exercise basically produces free drugs in the brain. Yeah. So it's finding a way to help them achieve what they want to achieve, but also give them the habits that they're going to go on to use forever. Yeah. So that's what we're all about, really, passing that knowledge on. So it's not just a quick 12-week turnaround. It's here are the tools. Yeah. We're going to help you use them, but if you're not with us anymore, you've still got the tools. Yeah. And you can carry on using them to help you get what you want to get.
Yeah. And do you get people on the other end that are like, oh, I'm here because I've been told by doctors or other half or whoever, and the mindset's just not there?
Yeah, we have a bit of that.
Just because the reason I ask is every time I speak to a business owner who's new to opening a business, and you're like, okay, who's your target market? And they're like, everyone. I went, I promise you, it's not everyone. Yeah. I can guarantee, because I can now, people walk in and within 10 minutes, I'm like, yeah, we can work together. Yeah. If we can't, it's not in a bad way. It's normally like, I'm not going to be able to give you what you need. Yeah. So we recommend, and it's why we work with a lot of people that, in Sudbury, obviously how small the place is, they're like, oh, are you not competitors? We're like, no, not at all, but they're so different to me. Yeah. You'd be better working with them. And it's just that, I don't know, sometimes it can be a mindset thing, or it can be a way of working thing. I know my strengths, so I know who I can work with. Yeah. But I also know my weaknesses to go, do you know what, we can do this bit for you, but actually you need to go and speak to this person, because they're all over that, and that's who you'll just gel better, or whatever it might be. So
so we do have people come in who aren't sure on if it's for them or we're for them. But again, I see that as a little bit of okay, what can I do to help this person to the best of my ability? Yeah. And very rarely, but it has happened, we have had a few people that I've just been like, well, okay, it might not be for you currently, or it might be a case of we've had to then refer on to some form of like counselling if it's to do with food, and I've potentially flagged up some sort of eating disorder, something like that. So we'd always sort of refer on to other experts if I feel like we're not being able to offer that. But it doesn't happen very often, but it can happen. Yeah.
And do you work with, because obviously I do know some of the people you work with, but different people like other fitness people, physios, so nutritionalists. Is there people you'll refer and work
with? We have a link with H&R, Horse and Rider Therapies. So Paige, who runs that, is also the football club physio as well. Yeah. So she has her physio room in my studio, and then also down the fort as well. We also refer people on to Edge Physio as well, who's been doing it for a long time, very experienced, been at Ipswich. So they're sort of the main two physios we'd refer people to. There are others also. It depends on availability, severity of injury, what they need to get out of it, basically. Yeah. In terms of nutrition, we tend to do it all in-house, based on our qualifications we have as a team. But again, if it's something where I feel like it needs that little bit of like psychological help with food, and it's a little bit more, I wouldn't want to do any harm, so we'd pass that on and recommend that we pass that on.
Yeah. And how do you tell us more about the team? Because there's not just you.
There are others.
There's now more than just you. It started with just you, but how did that evolve? And
so my other half is good at all the things I'm not great at.
Brilliant.
Which I think is important in business. You should delegate things you're not particularly good at to others. Because trying to do it all on your own is crazy. You can try your best, but it comes to a point it's just not
you're
possible.
You're going to fail at something at some point.
And it's knowing your strengths and weaknesses. So I love coaching, love doing that side of things. Don't mind running business side of things. But in terms of admin, being on the ball with creating logs and things like that, Zoe, my partner, is very, very good at that. So she's head admin lady.
Yeah, nice.
She's very, very good.
I like that head admin lady.
Yeah.
It's like when we got our first business cards, I was like, just chief tea maker.
That's it.
Tea.
There you go.
Tea and admin.
Know your strengths.
Yeah, exactly.
And then recently, Connor is a coach for us as well. I've known Connor for a long time. He's brilliant at it as well. I knew he would be. He had previous jobs very different to this, but he has had management roles before in different jobs he's had. But he's very good with people, and he's very passionate. So Connor was sort of our client and a friend before he was a member of the team. So Connor coaches out of the Fort, which we'll come on to in a bit. And we had Sam as well, Fit with Sam B. She coached us for a bit as well, and she was brilliant. Really good at all things functional fitness and fitness classes and stuff like that, and a good motivator. She's not with us sad anymore, but she's still coaching, doing her thing, which is great. And then recently we've had Chloe join the team as well, who's brilliant. CrossFitter, so that's all things clean and jerks, barbell work, crazy levels of fitness, cardiovascular fitness, doing, CrossFit games sort of style stuff and ethics games and just, crazy wads and things like that. But she's brilliant and brings a background of a bit of a science background as well that we offer, so suited us perfectly in what we do. But they're both based down at the Fort.
Yeah. So tell us about the Fort.
So that also comes on to a couple of team members as well, but we'll go Fort first and then the team members that come to it. So
it's like a teaser.
Set the scene. Never ready for opportunity is what I said with regards to getting the studio. Certainly wasn't ready for the opportunity to buy the gym. But location wise, it was just perfect in the sense of my location suited me. I could get to and from it quite easily. It's a side of town where there isn't much going on in terms of an actual members gym. And it was already running as a gym.
Okay.
So an opportunity came up. The people that were running it before were selling it. A good friend of mine, lifelong friend of mine, Johnny, who's a partner in the Fort and helps run the Fort, he sort of reached out and was like, well, this has come up. He was going there as a member at the time, as was a few of my clients. And they sort of were like, well, what's going to happen then? So I saw an opportunity and went with it with two hands and some good advice from other people that know more than me about business and what the opportunities were. And sort of devised a long-term plan of what we're going to do with the place. And my aim has always been, from the very start, to offer the best quality coaching advice in the best quality environment. So we took it on. It needed some work. We had a 2-year plan to sort of do it up and make it what we wanted to make it, had a vision for it. So me and Johnny got to work with the help of a lot of other people, who, of course, it wouldn't be possible without them. Too many people to name, basically, but they know who they are. And, without them, we wouldn't be where we are now.
And it is amazing the people that step in at times that you just, I think you don't even realise, because I think when you've got your own business, and especially having BT Fitness kind of on your own anyway, and setting that all up on your own and looking for opportunities, when you kind of put it out there and everyone's like, oh no, I'll help, I'll jump on board, you're like, because small business ownership can be a lonely place.
Can be,
So when that comes on, you're like, oh wow, it's like, it kind of blows you away a bit, because you just, I think you naturally don't expect people, because you think, well, it's my business, it's me, it's our business, it's ours, and then for other people to just step in and help, it's always, I mean, it's just brilliant.
It is quite touching, and to think that it was just little old me at the back of my car in a field, to now other people showing a real interest and wanting to help, and like, okay, this is amazing. So we set about the 2-year project of revamping the place. It needed some love, it needed some work, but money doesn't grow on trees.
No.
Would love to have done it overnight.
Landlords don't take magic beans. That's
no.
An issue.
No. We're very grateful that our landlords are great. So we sort of set a project about, and we pretty much almost finished it. So phase 1 was to redo the upstairs to give us a nice functional area to train, so that ticks a box with high rocks and conditioning athletes. And then it was offer a nice sort of wellness space for some therapists to go in there and work. Like physio, which is what Paige does now, and then redo the downstairs, which we finished this summer, and that was basically trying to get the best quality kit in. And that's what we've done. We're just now going to finish reception and make it a nice little environment for people to chill out in once they've battered a body in the the gym.
Nice.
Basically, but the Fort is based just down the road from the studio at AFC Sudbury. So we call it the recycling centre, but everyone knows it as the Tip. So it's down by the Tip.
It's by the Tip.
Yeah, it's by the Tip.
It's a good point of interest, though. Everyone knows where the Tip.
Everyone drives past it.
Exactly.
They might be fuming because they're waiting in the queue to get the rubbish at the Tip, but they know where the gym is now, so it's fine.
You look at the sign. Here's the number.
So that's where we are. And the Fort came about, like I said, not when I was ready for it, but we took the opportunity on. And me and Johnny have worked really, really hard with the help of his partner Megan as well. We've put a lot of hours in to just provide this really nice facility for people to train out of. And that worked quite nicely with the long-term vision I had for other people doing what I do. So they got to a point where there's only so many hours in a day. I'd love to coach everyone I ever come across and provide them with the knowledge and help I can. Can't do it though. As you know, very busy. Running the business. So I then basically wanted people to still have the opportunity to work with us, but that means I had to get other people in. And recruiting the right team members is so important in anything you do.
Yeah,
if it's a sports team, if it's a business, anything you have. So took the guys and girls on board, and they've done brilliantly. And they offer the same thing I offer, just in a slightly different way, in their own way, their own spin on it, which is great.
And I think that's important as well, because you've got to have, a bit like the way we work with people, you've got to have that relationship with your PT.
Yeah.
Because if there's no respect there, you won't do what you're being asked to do, or you'll turn up, do that, and then forget about everything for a week. But also that just, I don't know, just the way, like you said, each have got their different way, and it's everyone's way of working. I mean, if we were all exactly the same, the world would be a very boring place.
It would be, yeah.
But I think it just then gives that variety to any gym or physical fitness place, because just, I don't know, it's, especially in Sudbury, because I'm guessing for you it feels like there's hundreds of gyms.
There's a few.
There's quite a few for a small town, but anyone you speak to, and it always makes me laugh when people put up, and I've stopped putting it now, but people just like, can you recommend a gym in Sudbury? And I'd always comment, go, what do you want from a gym?
Yeah, it depends what you get out of it.
Like, do you just want to turn up and just lift weights and not have anyone? Do you need accountability? Do you actually need a nutrition plan? Do you want to specialise in something? Are you running a marathon, or are you doing that? And I always find it really interesting, because I think a lot of people just think, just turn up to a gym, just go to a gym.
But it doesn't, like you say, exactly that. Everyone wants to get something else out of it, and there's loads of different things around the area that provide those different things. So group training facilities, just a leisure centre, other gyms, just recreational gyms that you want to go to. There's loads of that. And we just try to find a gap in the market to be that little bit different, because you've got to be unique, you've got to stand out in business. But we're still the same principles of offering the best quality that we can.
Yeah. And what would you say that what's the main difference between PT and the Fort? What's the difference? Because obviously it's a different feeling because of where you are at AFC.
Yeah. And
you can tell that when you walk through, and it's lovely. But it's just, I can imagine some people would find that quite intimidating to go past all the football. Really love it, depends what you like.
Yeah, of course.
Walking past all the footballers and almost feel like, oh, do I have to be a elite athlete, or how does it? What's the difference between?
So that's an interesting point. Obviously, walking past football ground, they might be busy at times. There's a game on or something to come to us in the studio. So in an ideal world, the studio might be the other side of having to walk through that. But I feel like the fact that it's a private environment, it's like a safe space. You've worked with coaches as well. It's like a bit of R&R as well as you're working towards something, so you can confide in someone. You're there to help them in all aspects of life. The Fort being a members gym.
They're called physical therapists.
Yes, there you go.
There is all the therapy while you're working out.
Absolutely, there is. Yeah, but the Fort is a members gym, so you can pay your membership. Go there. We just have coaches there that are also delivering personal training sessions and sort of classes and stuff like that as well. So different environment in terms of it's a private studio with just me in there, and then the guys and girls are coaching down the other one. But it's a members gym, so there's more people about. Basically. So.
And I think that's kind of you've got the feeling on right, because when you do go through and you get down to your studio down there, it does feel like, oh, this is like all for me. Like this PT is here to concentrate on me. It's not when it's a bit of a members only on the flip side, which is great for some people. But then, like for me, I just do think 2 things with a dumbbell and go, oh, just have a bit of a break.
Yeah.
I need someone going, what are you doing? We doing 10 of them?
Yeah. And
why are you pausing?
Exactly.
Why are you stopping?
The accountability is important for some. Some people don't need it, so we sort of offer an online format for those that might not need the in-person coaching as much, but they still have that level of accountability where they can still speak to us online and stuff like that. But accountability is important for people. Yeah,
there's a group of us, which is now a group of 4 of us, that run at 5:45, 2 or 3 times a week.
I love that.
And we do that just for accountability.
Yeah.
And it's 2 of us started. We did the SVP 50k last year. And then so it was to build up for that. And then 2 of us carried on, then 3 joined, and now 4 of us. And then running back this morning, one of them went and found another one.
Brilliant.
But it's just that no one's going to get up at 5:30 in the morning just on your own. And if you are, amazing. Like you've got some goals, you know where you're going. However, I'm not that person. I can't run on my own. If I know someone's going to be on that street corner waiting for me, I can't, there's no excuse. And it's too early to cancel as well. Yeah. So you have to do it. So the agreement is, unless it's a downpour, we go out and run. And I'm the same with the gym. I need that. I need to walk down that and not to freak anyone out. You don't have to walk past all the footballers. I don't want anyone to think that you walk on the inside and go through. But it is that walk down, and for someone like me that needs that accountability, it is that like, okay, that PT, that is an hour of me time.
Yeah.
And I do use PTs as therapists as well, so it's fine.
Yeah, it's part of the job.
Yeah,
not in the description, but it's part of the job.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So you said about groups earlier, about talking about different groups and setups and how it was. How was that on the BT side or both sides? Or?
So a bit of both. So the fort treat it as like the gym. It's the hub. It's the environment. The BT is all the coaching that happens within the fort and within the studio. So in terms of different demographics and group we coach, we have obviously people that do high rocks. So we have a group for that.
Rocks.
Yeah. Not strictly called high rocks, but functional fitness.
Is that what it's called?
So unless you're affiliated, you can't call it high rocks.
Right, okay.
So functional fitness.
It's brand names. A bit like Ironman.
Yeah.
I never did an Ironman. I just did triathlons.
It's still very cool though.
Yeah.
Very cool.
So,
and then, like I said, we've got youth athletes.
Yeah.
Then we do youth S&C classes down at the fort, as well as young gymnastics. But that's the S&C for the gymnastics group. We don't actually teach gymnastics.
Yeah. But that's around the corner as well. So
it's around the corner, yeah. And then the U3A, that I might have mentioned at the start, is this group for over 65s who are retired, and they can become a member of that. And then we have a coach called Melanie, who is a GB powerlifter at the age of 70.
Just amazing,
incredible lady. She then leads a group twice a week.
She get a red carpet every time.
She should, shouldn't she? Yeah, we should sort that out for her. Yeah, or a small crown or tiara. But she delivers that for us. So today, they were down there, 6 of them, aged between late 60s to early 80s, learning how to lift weights safely and look after themselves, because often what people tend to do when they retire or they slow down, they're less active.
Yeah.
Muscle mass and bone density will decrease rapidly, even quicker for females than males, unfortunately. And it's that opportunity of you can still be fit, mobile and active. Yeah. That's a choice. Or you can be sedentary and be uncomfortable. So these people are then taking it upon themselves to be led by Mel to sort of help them feel better and move better and look after themselves physically and mentally, because the mental side of exercise is massive, and it just makes you feel great. So that's one of the groups we offer down there, which I think is brilliant to offer that, and they're the main ones we sort of do.
Yeah, and also I think that group setting as well makes a huge difference for the mental side of things, because I know, and it's really interesting of how productive I am if I've run or done boot camp in the morning. If I've not, and the alarm's set that hour more, which I'm wide awake from 5 every morning, so I think, I've got another hour. Oh my word, I know the whole morning's gone to pot. I just don't do anything quickly. I feel sluggish. I don't eat right. It's just crazy how much of a difference that bit of exercise is. And even if it's just like, do you know what, I'm awake and now I'm trying to get up, walk the dog, do a bit of yoga, and then even that sets me up. It's only half an hour in total, but the difference, and the same with running, with the group, it's just, I think people don't realise the benefit of that when, I don't know, just going out for a run on your own, or just doing something on your own, or turning up to the gym with no one to, just your headphones. I think because otherwise we don't talk. We've all got stuck on our phones and we're all sat scrolling. So that tiny bit of socialisation, as well as doing physical fitness as well, I think just makes I don't think people realise the benefits of it.
No, and it's something we're trying to push out there, and like a long-term goal of ours, again, it's just that exposure to as many people as possible and convince them, this is for you. There is a form of exercise that will benefit you in some way, and mentally it's so important. Having suffered myself at times with mental health, it's so important to have that just consistency with doing something. Like I say, it doesn't have to be much, but if you get up and you do something physical in the day, you'll feel great for it, and you'll be so much more productive. And just for that period of time, you're not thinking about anything else really. You're socialising with other people, you're exercising, you're concentrating on that. It's brilliant.
I think it's funny. Andy, our IT nerd, always chats. If I call him when I'm leaving work, if I'm walking, because I only live at the other end of Milford, he's like, I can't talk to you because you'll be postman patting all the way down the street, because I'm like, morning, hello, oh, there's a dog, hello, gorgeous. And it's just, but that came out of COVID, the amount of people, and you'd stop and talk because you'll be on your dog walks, you're the only person they speak to all day.
Yeah.
And I think people don't realise we're in, so that it's a bit like if it's not on social media, it didn't happen.
Yeah.
But also, this is my life and this is how everyone else is. So I go home to a family and that's fine. Well, actually, there's other people that don't. They live alone, or they just need that to get out for that hour class once a week, twice a week, whatever it might be. I think it's just, I don't know, taking that, almost the exercise is a bit of a bonus. It's the chat and just being with different people. I think that makes a big deal. So do you do other with the PT side? Is it just you always do one-to-ones, or is that
paired, small groups?
Yeah,
and great social for people. And like I said, that might be their only activity for the week, but it's also a really good social for them. And people make friends from that. And we've taken people from a group setting just they want to come with friends because they're not particularly confident in the gym environment. And it's been great for them. They've made more friends out of it with other people coming, and then they've gone on to do incredible things. Like people have gone from never stepping foot in a gym before to competing at a competition they never heard of before they started. So that's great. And then along with that comes a fantastic social side, like I say.
Yeah, and I suppose when you've got, like either gym, you're still going to come into contact with various different people anyway. So even if you're not doing PT with just that person, you're still going to have that social of knowing the PTs or knowing other members in before, of just having that. I suppose with that, are you able to pair people up, or do you tend to talk to people if they've got the same goals or working towards? Yeah,
so often for people, if they've got very similar goals and they know each other, it might be a case of, it'd be good if you actually come together. Obviously it makes it a little bit cheaper for them, and it means they have that social side of it as well, and they can get a bit more out of it, maybe come once again that week with someone. So we do recommend that from time to time. So I think it's important to do that. And often with coaching, like PT and one-on-one or small groups or just a gym, having a community feel is difficult to come by. That's where group training centres and stuff like that really excel, because you always train with similar people at similar times, which is great. So we try and offer that as best we can. So we'll go to these sort of events like meets and competitions and high rocks and things, as many members as we can, to sort of support each other and have that real community feel without sort of being that sort of gym anyway. So for example, we've got our Christmas do coming up, and everyone from the fort's really interested in coming, so you'll probably have like 40-50 people turn up who might not necessarily cross paths together, but then we'll talk about what they do, their passion. I'm training for this, I'm doing this, and they'll make friends out of it, and socially it's great for them, because again, that might well have been a daunting environment for them once upon a time. They're going to go to that and be really confident and talk to people about what they do.
And they've already got that one common element as well, so it's always, you've got something to approach people with. And I think that's what people, even more so with the dreaded scrolls and social media, it's difficult to go up to someone and go, "Hi, nice to meet you."
I'm just going to doom scroll.
And you don't. It's we're losing that. So I think that's so important, because I think, and then it goes, "Oh, hi, I go to the fort and I'm training for. What are you training for?" It's like business networking events. I always say, just go up to someone and say, "Hi, what do you do? What's your name and what do you do?" Because people love to tell you about themselves. So you don't then have to panic that you've got to go, "Hi, I'm Farley. This is what I do." In case they're like, I don't know, it's just that whole anxiety thing. Again, made worse by COVID. But I think if you can give that space and that community feel to people, that's when you just get that word of mouth and recommendations from people to go, "Oh, worked with this coach," or "I've done this." And people to see what they're achieving as well, and especially going from not stepping into a gym to competing. Someone will have followed that, whether they've sat down and it's a friend they've told about, or whether they post it on their own social media, like, "Well, how are you doing?" Because in their mind they'll be like, "Well, I never thought." They might not say it. Some people do say it out. In Milford, people say exactly what they think to you, but "Oh, I never thought you'd do something like that." So it makes them think, "Well, I can do something like that." And then again, is it a lot of recommendations or word of mouth? How do you get more clients? And
so I'm not the greatest at social media. Again, it's not one of my strengths. But initially when I started, it was very much word of mouth, some paid promotions, a little bit of that. But this day, like in the last couple of years, we sort of do social media just less for getting clients in, more for just letting people know what we're doing. Which hand in hand also brings clients in. But word of mouth, I would say, has been our biggest sort of source of clientele and referrals and things like that. So just people saying, "I've achieved this. couldn't believe I've done it. Yeah. I enjoy it. I now go to the gym and enjoy it. It's great for me mentally, and they'll say, okay, I'll give that a go.
Yeah.
And then we try and help them progress like they have.
So if I had never stepped foot in a gym before, and I'm that person who I haven't got any goals, I just need to, I know I need to do something.
Yeah.
How does that kind of evolve from the initial contact of me just getting in touch and sending an inquiry? Just talk me through step by step. How do I then meet you at the gym? Do we talk online? How do you? Because I think there's so many people that almost know they need to do something.
Yeah.
But they don't actually know what it is, and they're not like, right, I want to do high rocks, I want to do an Ironman. They just know they need to improve their life, basically.
Yeah, and they're a fantastic client. If they're not sure what they want to do, how they want to do it, they're a bit of a blank canvas. Yeah. So we can really help them in any way possible. So they might reach out to us on social media or fill in our contact forms. We'll then reach back out to them and invite them down for a free consultation. We'll have a chat, sort of get a bit more background on what they do, a bit about them, their life, previous experience, just general health screening as well. And we'll then sort of discuss what we can offer them, sort of our services and stuff. And let's just say there isn't a waiting list of clients and they can sort of reach out to work with myself. We'd then book them in for an initial session. So they then come back a week later, let's say. Yeah. And we would do what we class as a mini testing session from what I've devised in the chat we've had. Yeah. So in that initial sort of chat we've had, I've picked out a few things that might be just a good parameter for us to set some data, because what is tracked and measured could be improved. And if we're sort of working towards like a retest date or some data, even if you haven't got anything specific in mind, they'll be like, oh, okay, I'm going to try and beat that next time, or I'm going to work towards just improving myself. So that's what we tend to do. And then we'll book them in for a training block of sessions, give them a program on our app to follow, and then they'll come see us for regular sessions, and we'll help them achieve that. And then after that first initial sort of 10 session period, we'll retest, we'll have a chat with them, see what they've achieved, what we could do better collectively as a team to help them, and then we'll go again and see what else they want to achieve. And at that point, it's often, well, I really love that. I want to work towards that now. Yeah. And that's generally how it goes. Yeah.
And do you get a mix of whether it's losing weight, building muscle, taking there? So I'm not. I don't weigh myself, so I'm not that person. Yeah. It's when certain genes get a bit tight. I'm like, oh, okay, we need to like lay off the Kit Kats right now. But and I'm guessing that's part of the coaching to make people understand that. But how do you kind of track their progress and that? How do they?
So great question. Scales are not important at all unless you're competing in a sport that requires weight classes.
Okay.
What does it tell you?
Can you tell my husband? sorry, Ben.
What does it tell you? It's a collective mass of what food you've eaten in the last 24 hours, how much water you've got in your body, how much muscle mass you've got, your bone mass and your fat mass. Yeah. That means nothing. Yeah. It really doesn't. If you take Big Con that coaches for us, for example, he'll love the fact I've called him Big Con, by the way. He'll dine on that for weeks.
Oh, right? Okay.
Yeah.
Big Con.
Big Con, yeah.
Shout out to Big Con.
In COVID, no access to a gym, we made him a runner.
Yeah.
So he was then about 80 kilos. He competed on Sunday at powerlifting meet 114 kilos. So if he had in his head that scale weight's important, well, has he just put on like 34 kilos of fat mass? No. So they're not important, really. Yeah. Only for his weight class in powerlifting.
Yeah.
So what we try and do is to steer people away from that. Yeah. And people's relationship with their weight and scales is really detrimental at times. Yeah. And it's something that's been ingrained in them for years. It's a generational thing. You know, a certain weight or dress size means you're a certain level of well-being, health, or just, you know, a good-looking person or something like that, which is crazy. Because you can weigh 80 kilos and be 12% body fat, or you can weigh 80 kilos and be 25% body fat. Yeah. So we take body fat measurements using skin fold calipers, if people are comfortable with that, because it's a foresight method: bicep, tricep, shoulder blade, stomach, and we work out your body fat. Yeah. We do need your weight for that, but the measurements and mils are more important. Yeah. Or a really quick, easy one that we do with most people who are comfortable to do it is just a hip to waist ratio. Yeah. So take measure different sites in your body that we can easily track a loss or a gain. Yeah. And use that. Okay. Because that's a far healthier relationship to have, and it's not something you can easily do yourself. Yeah. So people might come in who are like, I weigh myself every day. I'm like, oh, okay, little red flag. We'll work on that and try and work towards not doing that and take the scales away, because what you weigh doesn't equate to your self-worth. Yeah. If you want to lose body fat or lose weight, as you put it, we'll just measure here, and we'll just use a tape measure, and we'll just sort of start getting away from that relationship with the scales. Yeah. and that's what we try and do really. And we measure all that with sort of our data analysis on our app, and we just log it all because we just keep hold of it as information.
Yeah. And do you do the token, like here's the picture, here's the before and after?
Yeah, absolutely. If you feel comfortable to do so. So we don't ever really use those sort of images for our gain. It is a bonus that people see that on the socials, but only if people are happy for us to share them. It's more for them. Yeah. Some people aren't happy taking initial pictures, which is fine by us. We always recommend it because seeing that visual change day to day is really hard. Yeah. But 10 weeks apart, you'll see a big difference.
And also, I've found myself when I've stood there and gone, right, let's do a before picture, and you're kind of like stood there, and all of a sudden you're actually looking at yourself going, oh, okay, that's reality now. Because you don't, how often do you actually stand there in your shorts and t-shirt, underwear, bra, whatever it might be, and go, oh, okay, I think it's that I think that's almost a start of a realisation of, oh, I've got to do something if it's
and it's that level of accountability again. You've taken those pictures, I'm going to have them taken again at the end of this training block, so here we go, let's go for it.
I put a before and after post up a couple of years ago now, and I said guess the weight difference, and it was a picture of me. I can't remember if it was a before, when I'd taken a picture, stood at home. So, oh no, that was my after picture. The before, so when I run, I'm hot. I always end up with a sports bra and shorts because I just overheat massively. Yep. Not bothered about what I look like.
Yeah, we're running,
fair, so I'm running. I was running a half marathon. Like, you're going to judge me. You ain't running, so it's fine. And so it was me coming down the finish line with someone, and then almost an after picture. I put guess the weight, and the average guess was between 2 and 3 stone difference. And they're like, oh, you've done amazingly. You've lost so much weight. So it's exactly the same weight. I was exactly the same weight before, and it was just body shape size. And I went, because it's that muscle mass. Mm-hmm. Everything I've done through the running and the boot camps and the strength training was just creating the muscle mass, and I was bob on exactly the same way. No one believed me. They all thought I was full of it, but I said because I've got so many people I know that do that. They weigh themselves every single day or regularly, and I'm like, you can't, like you say, it's not a healthy place to be in. The same as being a certain size. I've been a size 10 for so much of my life. Now to the point I have to buy a size 12, but then you look at your clothes like, oh, I used to be a size 12 in that place anyway, because they're all blooming different, so it's not consistent even in clothes sizes. So, but I think so many people, and you're right, it's a generational thing, and almost a bad habit of people getting into that of just, do you know what, you need to realise you might be bigger, but it's like my thighs are bigger, but I always use cycles. My thighs are going to be...
Got big quads,
Some people pay to get them bigger.
Yeah, exactly that.
It's like the Brazilian butt lifts. There's a reason people are doing their squats.
Yeah, exactly. And it's really interesting. You mentioned your post, and I love that you did that, because muscle mass weighs more than fat mass. So why say on the scales, oh no, I want to lose 5 kg, it stayed the same, but you've lost 5 centimetres around your waist, why would you not be happy? That's great. You built muscle mass. That shows you built muscle mass. So
exactly.
That's what we try and do.
Yeah.
So.
And what do, when people come do you get people coming in with, like you say, if everyone's got a goal, you'll work to get them there, and it's breaking it down, but do you get people coming in and it's like, okay, the example I use is when I go into the hairdressers and I could take a picture of someone like, I don't know, J-Lo or something, I'd be like, you make me look like that, and my hairdresser people would be like, probably not. But we can get there or do something different. Do you get people that have just got, I don't want to use the word unrealistic, but unrealistic goals, or is it breaking it down into chunks, or? Yeah,
sometimes people come in and say, I will look like this.
Expectations.
Unachievable expectations. Yeah. Occasionally, that comes in, and that might be the social media. Yeah. It might be TV. They see these people in movies and stuff, and they go, I want to look like that. And we sort of break that down and change their way of thinking a little bit. Yeah. Not all in one go, because it takes a little while. And it's more about just the self-improvement day to day and building a better, healthier them. Yeah. We're still trying to achieve something really cool, but just look like a better version of yourself and a healthy version of yourself rather than trying to be this person. basically. And that comes from just us planning and setting those goals and guiding them in the right direction with it. So a macro cycle, which might be their 20-week plan, is broken down into about 4 sections, of like mesocycles we call it. And then a microcycle might be like their week. So we're just going to focus on this week, and if you do this every week, we'll achieve this in this 4 weeks. Every 4 weeks you do that, we'll get to here. And then it just makes it far more achievable. It's no different from if you just set up any business and do anything like that. It's, okay, I want to be up here achieving this, doing this, but my goodness me, it seems miles away. It's like climbing a mountain. But all you have to do is just start and try and get to this next bit here, which might be like a little base camp, a little ledge. Achieve that, reevaluate, see where you're at. What did it take to get to that bit? Okay, we can make things a little bit better. Next couple of steps seem a little bit quicker. You'll get to a point where, okay, this is now hard for a different reason, and then you'll have to tackle it a different way. You might have to get a different set of climbing ropes out, but you can still get there. It's just working on that next step in front of you, just looking at the next one. If you look too many ahead, it's daunting, it's unattainable, it's unachievable. You just won't get there. Basically.
And do you ever have people come in with mentioning like the social media stuff?
Oh, all the time.
Coming in and going, okay, I want to look like that, and it might be, do you know what, that you don't want that lifestyle, or they might have an eating disorder or something like that, because I'm guessing you can spot things like that a mile. Yeah,
we can. And sometimes you'll have people come in and they want to be, it's both men and women, I want to be like a bodybuilder, stage ready, ripped, and we just sort of have to explain to them that's really not healthy. They do that as their sport and their choice, and it's incredible dedication, and it's amazing that they can do that. But as a coach, our aim is to get them straight back out the other side to a healthier body fat percentage that's manageable, better relationship with food straight away, might get their menstrual cycle back if they've lost it, going into competition, being that lean, and then we're back in a really good spot. Lean, so still healthy, but more attainable and sustainable. So if people come in and say that, we're like, okay, so if you want to be a female and you want to have visible abdominals, but you store more body fat there genetically, for example, we'd be like, okay, just to explain the situation, how about we sort of aim for this, because it's healthier, more achievable, and won't cause you any harm. And we can work towards that. And they go, okay, cool. And we just have to talk to them about it and explain. There's always a reason behind someone's wanting to do it, and there's always a reason behind why we think it won't be good for them or better for them to do something else. And it's the same with men as well. Being that lean all the time, you feel awful. You're lethargic. You're basically eating hardly any calories. It's not a good place to be, but somewhere just the other side of that is. So we just guide them towards that, basically.
It took me years to talk myself out of visible abs, and then you do and this back in when we all used to buy magazines,
of course,
Ben would always have Men's Health and things, and you'll read through and be like, this is a typical diet. I'm like, oh, it sounds miserable. I want to look like that, but have my lifestyle. So that ain't going to go hand in hand at all, is it?
No, and it's balance, because otherwise, and unless you're doing it for a sport, and you're going to step on stage or something like that, then they choose to do it. But day to day, it's not like that.
No. And actually, who's going to see my abs anyway? So it's like, I'm always in a hoodie.
There you go.
It's just not going to... I ain't showing that off down the street, so it's fine. So how does it work in terms of going back to the team and stuff? So where you've got, because you briefly mentioned all the different groups and age ranges, and obviously you've got Melanie, and I'm guessing that's her, well, not guessing, I'm assuming that's her specialism, so she can obviously talk to the right amount of people and that. Do you have people where their strengths are in nutrition, or do you buzzwords talk about people that are in perimenopause that need to do more, specialise in that side of things, like you say, the weightlifting and everything else in terms of the age ranges and strength and conditioning for all the different not exercises, what's the word, gymnastics and stuff. Do you have between the coaches, is it a case of someone might come for a consultation with yourself and you're like, oh, do you know what, you might be better with Big Con, he knows what
Big Con.
So he might be better for help you with such and such because his strengths are like this. Do you work as a team that way?
Yeah, absolutely. So Chloe is fantastic at all things Olympic lifts. So I offer a bit of Olympic weightlifting as well, but she does it as her sport regularly. So she's fantastic at that. So if anyone came to us and was really interested in getting into CrossFit, Olympic weightlifting, sort of functional fitness, we'd steer them her way. If someone's interested in building as much muscle mass as possible, strength, again, I offer that, but that might be what Con's truly, really passionate about, as well as everything. I mean, we all love the fact that we're also passionate about just general health and fitness, that we all have an understanding of all areas, but if you were to class them as a speciality, it might be that. And then mine might be sports-specific stuff. But what we, as a three, like to talk about, and like Chloe's very good on the social, so's Con, is we'll post and talk about things like menopause and just supplements and other things in the industry that can help people get to where they want to be, and basically debunk and sift through the rubbish, because the internet is full of some interesting, not particularly researched information that you need to sift through.
The latest one is Zempic. Have I said that right?
Yeah.
Is that the latest?
Zempic, yeah. The
take
like,
a
appetite
magic pill
suppressant.
and I lose 2 stone. Is that the right thing?
No, and with anything new, it's always a little bit concerning of what the long-term side effects are, things like that. From my reading and understanding, obviously as an appetite suppressant that it is.
Oh, same as smoking 20 fags a day.
Yeah,
right,
absolutely,
right,
you'll obviously lose weight on it, right? Because you won't eat as much. Simple as that. But now stuff's coming out, not quite conclusive about the potential side effects it has. But again, it might be a starting point for some, but is that really helping you build the foundational habits? So when you come off it, are you still going to rate the same as you had before? Have you actually learnt anything about yourself and your relationship with food and exercise? Are you an emotional eater? Are you someone who stress eats? Those sort of things. So have you actually worked on yourself and the habits that got you in that potential position where you're on a healthy level of overweight and unhappy in your environment? So everything has its place. I just feel like without the conclusive data, I can't give a yes or no if it's worth doing or not. Nor am I a doctor.
No.
But it's just that making that educated choice over if it's right for you and doing the extras around that to build better habits for yourself.
Yeah, and I think that will always go back. I always think it's an interesting thing when you talk to a PT or go into a gym, and I used to be a member at Kingfisher because I swam. So it was just habit that I'd appear in the gym maybe once a month for 6 weeks.
Say hello. Yeah,
exactly. Just like wave at everything and walk out again. Maybe stood on the treadmill for 10 minutes before I get really bored. But obviously they all talk to you. Oh, you could, like, I'm a PT, you could talk to me and stuff. And I always find it fascinating when you're talking to them and you're like, what do you want to do? And I said sometimes it's a very different conversation, and when it's like it's coming back to your habits, what you want to do, and it's the same as we talk to business owners. Same as you were saying, it's small steps. Who'd have, before you stepped foot in AFC, before you got the studio, I've like saying to you, oh Ben, you can have a studio in your own gym in this amount of time. You'd be like, I'm sorry, that's that mountain.
No chance. No chance.
Really? And I think it's really interesting because people, and especially on social media, they all sell the dream. Oh yeah, I can get you washboard abs. That's fine. And I'm like, really? What by how? Because, and I think it's interesting that you said to that, do you know what? Maybe it's you don't want to be here, we'll meet here.
Yeah.
Because your lifestyle does come into it. Your habits do come into it. It's everything else you've got to do that what's actually achievable. Like, my biggest thing, my target is for next year is just to manage and eat properly, which sounds ridiculous, but to meal prep and actually eat 3 meals a day rather than, I don't know if you noticed when you walked in over the road that there was just a family bag of crisps because that's all I've had time for today.
Just grab it and go.
Yeah, exactly. And so it's really, really interesting to me that you've kind of said all of that to go, do you know what, it's about you, or not me, but it's about the person that walks in, what the inquiry is, what their goals are, and what they can actually do. Because I think social media has kind of does the opposite of that. Yeah. And unfortunately, there are PTs out there that do the opposite of that as well. So. Yeah,
and we try to be that different, debunking the myths and just trying to help people and sift through it all, really. That's what we try and do, just give you the facts and back it up with the evidence.
Yeah.
But like I say, that's a great goal to have, you've got there. Because running your business is hard, time-wise, and time is always more important than actual money.
Yeah.
So giving yourself enough time to look after yourself is far more valuable than earning some extra money. So, doing that will be really good. It's a good goal to have.
Yeah, I do the exercise, just the eating that's a bit of an issue. But it's then, I'm guessing that's when you have people come in and it's that's initial consultation of, they need to be honest with you as well.
Always,
how much time have you actually got? Because we all say, I could sit here and go, I eat 3 meals a day. Yeah, 1 meal was a family bag of crisps, so if you want to call that a meal.
Yeah.
But I think it's that, because that's the other thing. You can say, well, we can get you here, But it's almost if you've been honest at the start and here.
Yeah.
Because there's no point like squirreling away a bottle of wine a night and go, oh, which drink, it doesn't matter. Or, oh, it's 20 fags a day, it doesn't matter. It's that, being honest, isn't it?
And from a psychology point of view, we like to use sort of a trans-theoretical model of behaviour change, which is like, if someone's reached out, they're almost in the action phase of that theory because they've taken the time, they've taken the step, which could be a daunting step, to reach out. Yeah. And it's then our job to unpick and help them really in that initial consultation, give us as much information as possible so we can help them. Yeah. And that's what we always say, the more you tell us, the more we can help. Yeah. And throughout the first couple of sessions, we'll learn more and more about them so we can tailor everything more and more to them and their lifestyle and their family. Yeah. But yeah, honesty is great, it's so important from both parts.
Yeah. And I think it's important to note that you've seen everything as well. So, because I think, like you say, that first step can be a massive deal to people, to walk and go into a gym. I don't know anything, that's probably one of the most intimidating things to me, is to walk in. Like I say, I joined Kingfisher just because of swimming, but walking, oh no, I can't think of anything worse. Why I didn't do it? Because it's just, it fills me with dread. Yeah. So it's the fact that actually, from you guys, because you've seen and talked to everyone, because you have people that are in sport, because you have Joe blogs off the street, actually you've seen everyone and everything. So there's no judgment there.
Not at all.
And I think that's the most important thing, is that actually, no, pros and cons, that Joe blogs isn't special because you'll have had a very similar Joe blogs before. So they don't, I think a lot of people get so insular in stuff, they think, oh, I don't know, can I reach out? Would the PT accept me? We've all got massive imposter syndrome. Yeah. Am I good enough to have a PT? I think it's all those things that stop people even just reaching out and sending a message or filling in that form and going, yeah, actually, and also asking for help, because ultimately, that's what we're doing. We're asking you for help and advice. And yes, I think I can Google it quite well and it will come up with all kinds of crap. But it's because you can't trust anything now online. Yeah. So at least with a person who's got a degree and got a qualification, but it's that, can you help me? And am I good enough for you to help me as well? So do you get a bit of that with people? Or?
Yeah. And it's that sometimes people see what we offer as a bit of a luxury or a bonus, but we always refer back to, can you put a price on your health and feeling good? And how many people do you know or come across that go, oh, I feel like crap, I'm tired, I'm this, I'm that, don't do anything about it. At some point, they'll have that point of action almost, where they want to do something about it, and we just got to harness that quickly and get them in and be like, okay, don't want to scare them off, but this is what we're going to do. We're going to do this, and we just talk through it and ease them into the process, and before you know it, they're on the next couple of stages on of that theory, and they're well and truly in it. Yeah. And they forget about that. Yeah. So that's our job, really, to guide them to that point.
Yeah, and I think I'm a massive fan of Dr. Chatterjee. I never listened. Do you ever listen to his podcasts and stuff? Look him up. He's kind of these 4 pillars, and he's about exercising, eating well, getting sleep. So he was a general practice doctor. Yeah. And he's got loads of case studies of people where they've come in and gone, I'm a bit tired, I'm not feeling right, and he's like, well, what should I? So it's almost your consultation form to go, well, actually, walk a bit more, do a bit more exercise, eat properly, then your sleep will come and all of that. And it's really, really fascinating because my dad went pop 2 weeks before his 60th birthday, and whilst it was horrendous at the time, even now people are like, oh God, that's really awful. And he did no exercise. He was a very large man. He lived off cheese and chocolate. And he smoked 60 a day. So lifestyle wise, there's nothing more important, and that's what we do in our household. We walk the dog, we eat, we sit and have a family meal. So I do get one meal.
Yeah, nice, it's good. Yeah.
So we sit and have a family meal every night because it's all of those habits and steps that actually it does make you feel good. The fact that my other half, also Ben, and my daughter Emily hate the fact that I can fall asleep like that and they can't.
It's a skill.
I'm like, well, I must be healthier. But I just think it's all of that. Everything you said is so important, and I think so many people focus on getting the 6-pack or getting to a certain point or running the quickest that they kind of forget all those little habits and elements, as you say, that are so important.
Yeah. So, and people get accustomed to not feeling great. And they just think that's normal.
Yeah,
and it's
which is mental.
Yeah, and they're just quite happy. They just go about their day. Yeah.
being exhausted every day.
Yeah, being a bit miserable, yeah.
Yeah.
And that's just not the way to be. And, you know, how much more productive would they be? How much happier would their relationships be with their family if they just slept better, ate better, a little bit of exercise.
Yeah.
And when we say exercise, it could just be a fast walk.
Yeah.
It could just be going outside and having a fast walk. That's a start.
Yeah.
And, you know, that makes a massive difference to just general well-being.
Yeah. They were saying to this morning about how, like, because one of the guys joined us, he went, what ungodly hour do you go out at? We're like, 5:45. I said, but to me, 8 p.m. is an ungodly. I can't do exercise. I am a morning person. So when people, and they'll say, like, how do you do it? I have to get up. Just get up and run. Oh, what, you spring out? No, I do not spring out of bed. Do I feel like it? No, not at all. It's dragging out on this kind of weather as well, where it's damp and cold, and no, it's not something I want to do. But I know I'll have the most productive day afterwards, and I know, and I have that smug feeling by 7 a.m. I'm on Strava.
Yeah, nice. Yeah,
I've done me run, and that's my almost reward of smugness of going, oh, it's done now, so I don't have to do anything all day. Like it's I've done my steps, I've done everything, and I think that's kind of that achievement, and that's my accountability of meeting Dave on the corner that we'll both run and get out. So.
And the consistency with it's the most important thing, because motivation will come and go, but consistency will always beat motivation, because it's always there. So if you can get to a point where it becomes a habit, a really positive one, you'll be fine, and it just becomes part of your life, a non-negotiable. Yeah. And we're sort of talking those non-negotiables day to day of eating well, sleeping well, exercising. It just sets you up to be far more productive as a human being. Yeah,
definitely.
So that's great.
Yeah. So what's next for the Fort and BT Fit?
Finish our last bit of DIY. Make it that really welcoming environment in reception.
Yeah. So where you've said to have it, so what can people do there? So if I've not been there before, I've not seen you on social media, I walk in, what can I do?
So we're an unmanned facility, so it's coded entry. You can pay direct debit monthly, annually, day pass, scan the QR code on the entrance, come on in, and we've got everything you could ever possibly need in a facility. That was the aim, really, to sort of cater to the masses and have a bit of specialist kit for everyone doing every different sport, and enough friendly user kit for anyone who's never stepped in there before. So if you haven't stepped into the Fort before, you can book in an induction with us. We'll talk you around the whole facility. Showers on site. And
very important. Those going straight to work.
Absolutely, for the early risers. And in fact, we open at 5 a.m. So it's always good to get people sort of in before work, because sometimes 6 as a start is too tight for time. So 5 a.m. till 10 p.m. every day we're sort of open as a facility, and we've got everything you could possibly ever need. So we've got resistance machines, all brand new, made by Exago, all customised in terms of colour, because on brand's important.
100%.
Squat racks, barbells, specialist calibrated plates, bumper plates.
What brand are those?
So the plates are Jordan, which are linked with Exago. Calibrated plates are Strength Shop. So they're all like approved competition ones. Any barbell you could possibly think of that's ever been invented. So like you might know you heard of these: safety squat bar, easy curl bar, deadlift bar, trap bar.
Hang on, there's a different bar between a deadlift and a squat bar.
Yeah. Okay. So a deadlift bar is slightly longer. And slightly whippier.
Right.
And is sharper without a centre knurling.
Okay.
So if you compete in a federation that uses that bar, we've got that bar for you.
Okay.
A squat bar is 5 kilos heavier than a normal bar, and it's slightly thicker, so then obviously it doesn't bend as much when you put it on your back when you put a bit of weight on there.
Okay,
And the safety squat bar is a specialist bar where you hold it here, so you've got a shoulder injury, you can still squat because you haven't got your hands behind your back. So we try and just cover all bases with our kit. And then upstairs, that's our functional area, where we've got an Astro strip, all the cardio machines you can ever think of, so a treadmill, an S-Drive treadmill, which can turn into like a sled, ski ergs, bikes, rowers, an actual sled, another little area up there. So if you are new to a gym environment and downstairs is a little busy and you're not quite sure where to find your feet, upstairs in the corner down the far end we've got basically your own area. So it's a squat rack with some dumbbells, kettlebells, so you can take yourself away upstairs, come in with a friend or whatever, and you can just do all you need to do upstairs until you build up the confidence. And I've had clients, online clients, who've trained down the Fort that have just getting in the gym was one of our first goals, and they would train themselves upstairs, and they've taken that to then training downstairs, to then making friends with the people that train at the same time as them. They spot each other, help each other out, but just getting in the door was the first step. That was like here, like going downstairs to train was up here. But it was then like, okay, I'm going to train myself. I'm going to go at a slightly different time.
Yeah.
I'm actually going to go grab some kit from downstairs. I'm going to train downstairs. I'm going to talk to that person. We train together now.
Yeah.
So that's what it's all about.
Yeah. Well, how does the team fit in with that? Do they then book sessions and they'll turn up for training? How does that work?
So all booking in with us as coaches is done via us basically. Yeah. So if you reach out to me, cool, we'll book in for a session, or you reach out to Connor or Chloe. Big Con. Con.
You've been rechristened. Big Con. I'm just checking that he's going to listen to this. That's
So and then we just liaise with you to book in a slot, and I'll be going for 5-6 years now. So people have their slots, and that's been their slots for a while, and we can move things around. But and it's the same with Connor and Chloe. People have their slot on the week. They turn up. I'm sure you have the same when you go to boot camps and stuff. Yeah. You rock up. You do that session at that time. That's your schedule. That's your week. Yeah. So.
And do they do that? Does it mix with the studio or the fort, or how does that?
So I'm just based at the studio.
Yeah.
Very rarely will I come down to the fort to coach. I'll come down to the fort and do other bits and bobs and maintenance and things like that with Johnny's help. But for example, today I did a session down at the fort because I've got a couple of ladies who are competing in their first high rocks. Okay. And they were just two people that wanted to get into fitness, look after themselves. Just because menopause is creeping around the corner. They wanted to get stronger. They saw some stuff we did on sort of bone density and that. But we've given them the goal of doing a high rock, so that's what they're going to do. So I then, because all the specialist kit's down there, we've then gone down there, and I've just done a session down there today, and then gone back to the studio to then coach and then come here. Yeah. So Connor and Chloe, all their sessions are based down at the fort.
Yeah, and do they just on that, because obviously it's bang on trend at the moment with high rocks is functional fitness.
Yeah.
Does that mean it's just a mix of cardio, weights?
Yeah, a bit.
Is that the description of functional fitness?
I would say so, without anything too excessively technical.
Yeah.
And that's not to diminish the technicalities of high rocks.
No. But I'm just thinking because they do ski ergs, don't they, and then throw a ball.
So it's 8 events.
Not just throw a ball. High rocks.
Yeah.
It's a weighted.
Yeah.
It's kind of a big deal.
You'd almost class it as a runner's race because running is one of the main components. You do basically 8k in 1k intervals. You ski a kilometre, sled push. Yeah. Sled pull, heavy loads as well. It's hard. Yeah. Really, really hard. It's not just whiz it up and down a few times. It's heavy loads. And then burpee broad jumps, which is basically a burpee, and then jump as far as you can, a distance.
Like everyone loves the burpee.
And then we row a kilometre, and then we have got farmers farmers walks, and then lunges with a sandbag, and then wall balls at the end where you throw a ball at the target.
You've got to have your knee on the floor for the lunges.
You do. Knee must touch the floor. Yeah. Good flexibility, good range of motion in the quads. Yeah. So when we class functional fitness, can be classed as a wafty term because what is functional fitness? Is it swinging a kettlebell around your head? Is it doing a dance with a pole? Yeah. It's basically, I would describe it as general movement patterns with load that's difficult. Yeah. So squatting up and down and throwing a ball is something you might do. You might squat down. You might lunge down and pick something up off the floor. You might push your shopping trolley really hard if it's really heavy, like a sled. Yeah. So it's general movements. Running is something that most people can do, so it's a functional general movement. Yeah. So all that stuff we have down there for people to do. High rocks is, I've done a couple of paired ones. Bear in mind I'm a power lifter as my sport. Good fun, really euphoric doing it as a pair. And something I'd encourage people who aren't sure if like running's for them or sport is for them, but they've got into it and they're like, okay, I want to do something. Yeah. That'd be a cool thing to do. Sense of achievement.
And it's a massive mix of people, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely.
It's not just people that are like, on high rocks.
Yeah, have to say like that.
Yeah. It's a massive mix of ages, abilities. And you can compete obviously to be the quickest or best, whatever. But also you're competing against yourself.
And that's what we always say.
You get time, don't you?
Yeah, and it's UVU. Yeah. And anything really, we always try and make people think UVU. What could you do better? What have you enjoyed? And it's just a sense of achievement to be able to complete something like that. Yeah. Which is incredible. So that's sort of functional. Something that we class as more technical would be then the CrossFit, the Olympic weightlifting, because chucking weights on a clean and jerk above your head requires a bit more sort of like adherence to skill and a bit more risk element to it as well.
Because I just took you off a massive tangent.
That's fine, yeah.
So the next steps are getting the reception sorted, so that's all done.
Reception sorted over the next couple of weeks, and then that's pretty much there. Maybe top up with a few extra bits of kit
Are you at capacity at the fort, or is there?
We've got room for a few more.
Okay.
Members, which we'll sort of hope to get in over the coming weeks. Do some advertising for that.
You'll be fine.
Yeah, of course. And it's again just letting people know where we are, because until it was finished, we haven't really done much advertising. So I didn't know if you even heard of us until a couple of months ago.
Well,
maybe.
we've got Edge Fit physio, yes.
Yeah.
So that's how I keep up to date on you guys.
Yeah. Good old Scott, bless him, what a legend. So yeah, we're now going to let people know where we are. Yeah. Had some great media guys come down who just sort of fresh out of uni that got recommended to us. They were brilliant. So we've done some media, some filming and stuff. So we're going to sort of release a promotion with that and just sort of let people know where we are, what we're about, what we can offer them. Yeah. And yeah, that's sort of
how much is it?
So currently, Fort membership is £35 a month. Yeah. Get your code. £35 a month. Yeah.
Okay. And you can go as many times as you like? Yeah. Just
use the gym.
Oh, wow.
£6 a day pass.
I think I've got stuck on the ones that are a lot more than that recently.
So like group training facilities, obviously it's a semi-led session, so you might have 8 if you rock up, but you haven't got to think about anything. They've laid out the session for you. This is, you go in, do what you want, follow our plan. Most people in there are clients of ours, so they go on the BT Fitness Coaching app, they log in, we've uploaded their program that's specialised for them. So a runner might have, I'm going to start with some squats, but I've got some plyos. I'll log that, and obviously then we can see they've logged that. And then they'll go and do that. So they're led round by us. There's videos of us doing it on there, so they just sort of know what they're doing.
Yeah. Fab. And what's next for BT Fitness?
That's a great question as well. What's next for BT Fitness? To continue to grow and continue to offer.
I suppose it always feels different because you've got different. Do you call them students? They've got the academies.
So that is.
I suppose it is the same, but it's not the same because it's always different people coming through.
So I sort of split it up into 3 different parts. There's me as the gym owner, as the fort. There's me as the head coach of BT Fitness Coaching, and there's me as the lecturer, if you like, of the third year academy program. Yeah. So every year I have a different cohort of students, boys and girls, and I love it because it's something I'm passionate about. I love teaching it, and not everyone there in my cohort is there to be a personal trainer. Some are there because they're very talented at football. I mean, they're all talented at football, but some are there because they want to pursue themselves physically and be a better football player. And we've had a few over the last couple of years go on to play professional football from our cohort, which is fantastic, and the club do a brilliant job of that, guiding them through that. And we get a few that are there because they're not sure what they want to do, because they get UCAS points for doing our course as well as their level 3 personal training qualification, and we guide them through UCAS. And last year we had a girl who sort of hung about because she had ACL reconstructive surgery. We helped her through that with the help of the physios, and then she went off to Loughborough to study sports science, and she's there now. Yeah. And then we also have a cohort that want to be personal trainers. Yeah. And so in local area business, we've got people PTing out of State Millennium Gym, people PTing. A couple of lads in my first year of doing it have a sort of like functional fitness facility out in Brandon. They're doing brilliant stuff, LS Fitness, Lewis and Sam. Every year we sort of have people go off, and it's really nice to see them develop. They do the course, then they go on and coach and help other people. So that's why I also get a lot of satisfaction from their passing on our knowledge that we've given them to help as many people as possible, which is what I want to do. Going back to the question of what's next for BT, it would be exactly that. How can we give as much information as possible to as many different people as possible and just help them achieve more than they thought was possible? So if that's in a virtual sense, because we're almost at capacity in a person sense, that's something we're going to explore. Yeah.
So there's a few more spaces. You've got a waiting list?
I've got a waiting list, yeah.
But what about the other PTs?
A few spaces for Chloe. Yeah. And I think maybe 1 space for Connor. Yeah. Maybe 2. But then that's them working at max capacity. No.
And is that max time capacity in terms of hours one-to-ones or the online on the app? How does that split out?
So that is max capacity in terms of working with people directly, sort of one-to-one. There's a little bit of space online for people, for Chloe and Connor, not for myself. So, I feel like it's that work-life balance as well. So to be able to give people the best quality coaching and the most care and attention and really help them, you can't be coaching 60 hours a week. No. So we tend to sort of work towards a balance between being able to help people and coach people and really to make sure we're topping up our own education and looking after ourselves as athletes as well as coaches. Yeah. Basically.
Amazing. Oh, thank you so much for coming on.
A pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Exciting. I'm going to have to come and look at the fort.
You're more than welcome.
The studio. I love the studio. I would welcome welcome. I'd recommend anyone to go and have a look at the studio, although you would need to book in, wouldn't you, the studio to have come and see.
But yeah, message us and pop in, come have a look around.
But yeah, it's really, really lovely. And I don't know, it's a weird, cosy feel, which sounds weird for a studio / with the equipment, but it's nice. I think sometimes you go in and it can feel a bit too big. Yeah. And I think that's what can be intimidating, but it's just such a lovely, lovely feel on that. So I'll have to come down and see the fort as well.
Thank you. Always welcome. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. And thanks for coming on.
Thank you for having me. Yes, and you.
And as always, if you've enjoyed what you've heard, and please subscribe and like, and please, if you know someone that needs Ben's or any of the BT Fitness team's help, or needs a gym for £35 a month, which I still can't get over how that's, I don't know, probably not officially business advice, probably a bit too cheap, I mean, come on. But go and sign up, check out, you've got all the websites and social media links will be in the show notes. So yeah, thanks for listening. Thanks for listening to this episode. We really hope you've enjoyed it. If you have, please share with a friend who you think needs a bit of help with starting a business, or even their small business which they've already got going. Please like and subscribe to our podcast, which always helps a small business or small podcast like us. And check the show notes. We all have everything in there relating to the episode which you might need, might want to read, and links to anyone we've interviewed and certain subjects we've spoken about. And thanks for listening.